guys, welcome back to Clockwork Dandy Noodles for another breakdown of Shadow's House Season 2, Episode number 6. We are halfway through the second season. I'm so sad that we're actually halfway because it means we've only got 6 episodes to go. I feel like there's so much more I need to know. Before we get going, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I am recovering from an illness where my voice vanished. Yesterday's video ended up being a real chunky video. I was hoping to have a more relaxing video with you guys, but there's so much to discuss. It follows the same vein as yesterday's summertime rendering video. There was a lot of links this week in the plot that really made me think of summertime render. I will explain that when we get there. At some point in the next few days, I'm going to bring to you my midway review. In this video, I'm going to be ranking my top 3 OPs, top 3 EDs and animes of the season. Would be interested to see if Shadow's House makes it onto any of those charts. A fun fact as well, during the first season when it was airing, I wasn't breaking down Shadow's House. It ended up topping most of my charts because most of my top 3s tend to be the animes I am watching and I am breaking down on the channels because most of the time I end up associating them with good things because I have good experiences with you guys or we get into discussions and we just generally have fun. So make sure you guys are subscribed and do not miss out. Let's just get going with a question that I found myself not even asking for some time, and I do wonder if the animes very cleverly pulled me into that trap. What is over the wall? I do know there's a village over there because there was an episode where some of the grown-ups went to go and pick new dolls for the house, but it's been a while since I've even thought of this question, and this is very, very clever because I feel like it pulls you into the trap, the same as the characters in the plot where you're not asking questions about the wider world. For me, the wider world is the house, and I've been thinking so small. It's very clever that the anime's been making me feel small. Endless fog that seems to surround the house where we can't see further. It all makes you feel claustrophobic, and I love that. And there's always a wall which makes you feel imprisoned. It did give me some Promised Neverland vibes. I really hope that this anime will not suffer the same fate because it was the same studio who did sadly kill that anime. Please don't do that to Shadow's House. I will never forgive you if you ruin Shadow's House. Sean and Emilico wondering, what was life like at the village? What kind of roles did they do? What about family? And what about the idea of wealthy and poor? Does wealth even exist outside of the house? Because Shadow's house to us feels like the entire world. Is it possible that the Shadow family influence extends beyond just the house? Is there an entire Shadow network out there? Promised Neverland, it could be that there's an entire civilization out there. Us being in a small, tiny piece of it, we're not seeing the bigger picture that it could be that the humans are just enslaved fully. There are many Shadow families. It does make you consider the bigger picture. It's been ages since I even thought about it, which I think is an effect of the anime itself. So would life be better in the village or is it better to just stay there in the house with these guys not being aware of the mergings? I think we said that that was the biggest secret of the house. So these guys aren't aware of this. Right now, they are just taking the idea of that we just serve, we're just there to be servants. I think if they knew that they were going to merge, they would definitely be going, yeah, we're getting out. We're going to go and find a village because it means they're just going to be nothing more than a shell. And I think that's the idea of why they're called the living doll. Because they're not aware of the merging which is coming our way. When they do merge, theoretically, they just become a doll. They're just a shell to be driven by the shadow that takes over. Using the term living doll allows them to stay loyal. It also instills a lower class. You are nothing more than just a living doll. Here is our class system. Therefore, it explains and justifies any bad treatment that they may get. Because you are just a living doll whilst this is the Shadow family. Hitting the nail on the head that these shadows imitate the humans. Something that was bugging me all the way through the first season, and I'm so glad that ended up being the case. It's the face is chosen and then the shadow is picked and then they morph to the humans. That maybe it's interactions, it's words that allow the shadow to take on a life, a personality of its own. It almost mimics it. It's sad because it means that Rum and Shirley were never really gonna stand a chance because Rum was just so shy. Shirley, even worse, was taking on those shy factors that they couldn't converse. I'm happy that they consider the fact that Rum is still alive as a veiled doll. I would love to know all of the faces that are hidden beneath those veils. Wonder how many people are out there as a veiled doll. How many shadows have fallen and vanished and be reused? Because it does seem that Soot is easier to kill than a human. They're not going as far to murder humans, but they are keeping them brainwashed as a veiled doll, as a servant. They're subjugating them. So there is a purpose for those dolls who have failed. I did accidentally, I would have edited it out, I called Sean John by accident. And sometimes I do find myself calling the shadow the wrong name. The master would take on the real name because we want the human to become a vessel. So you want to remove any humanity from that human. Taking their name, it makes sense. Of course it's that way around. Emileko's name is Kate. I actually think she suits Emileko more. I definitely see Sean as a John. I can see that one. And this is also where I need to drop in the summertime render. If you're watching that anime, this is the moment where I started to think about last episode. It's fresh in my mind because I broke it down last night. We were talking last night about clones, shadows replacing people, and whether people would notice or not. This is that same thing. They eventually get replaced, and if they were to go into the human world afterwards, would they even notice that they're different? Both videos that follow each other right now are dealing with the same topics. Shadows houses high walls that restrict stimulation. So not only is it supposed to be a prison and it's supposed to make us all feel claustrophobic and keep it all in, Shadow's house feels more like a fortress. It's never really felt like a house to me because of those walls. Them trying to restrict stimulation is because they want to stop the humans remembering their past selves. It's interesting to note that if they suddenly, say, break down the wall and they saw the village, all of the humans might remember who they actually are. Master Robe appearing, wasn't expecting that, and he does seem that he's actually not human, more a shadow. But the statement that I'm not an enemy, I'm nor a friend, it's more, I bet what Emileko's doing of her trying to work out the entire house, the map, that must be panning out in the same way as whatever Master Robe's trying to achieve. Her goals and his goals are lying in the same direction, but they're not the same. So maybe her trying to get free, them trying to bring down the house, isn't initially what Master Robe wants. It does seem that Master Robe isn't who I thought it was. I don't think it's Christopher, which is sad because I was really hoping we'd get to meet him because he seemed like a very interesting character. But that could also be me being thrown off by the voice being all glitchy. The surprise rejoicing party making me on edge. It set my nerves really on edge. I was like, oh, we're doing it early. We're trying to catch them off guard. They have upped their monitoring. Everybody is now watching to make sure that nobody spits it out. The coffee they end up drinking is just coffee. I'm very confused. Apparently it's Benjamin's power. I think I accidentally forgot who Benjamin was, and then I realised that it was one of the star bearers. It's got the power to control emotions. She's not compliant. She doesn't listen to her master. It does make me wonder as well, can two people try and control a doll at once? Whether there's only a limit to who can control one. But it does make me think that they were planning to reveal the traitor, putting on a fake rejoicing party to see if the same thing would happen. Whether they were trying to keep an eye out for somebody who wasn't drinking. So it's a good thing that they did drink, and it's also lucky for them that it was just fake coffee. Nothing was permanent, so everybody is back to where they were. It did feel initially panicky because I was like, we're just getting to a good bit. We feel like we're making progress, and now the entire progress has been wiped. But thankfully, it is just a faux pas. What was the purpose? And I think they put it down to the star bearers are just trying to appease. It does seem that the star bearers are keeping secrets from the adult and they're acting alone. Because if this goes horrifically wrong, it's a possibility that everybody in the star bearing team, they're all going to get fired or they're all going to get punished later if everything goes really bad. If the adults suddenly find out that the kids have been dealing with Master Robe and it turns out Master Robe does do something in the upper house and they find out that the kids said nothing, it really feels like this is a really big gamble that they really shouldn't be taking it. I still believe that they should be informing the adults, even if it does show them as incompetent. Some things are just bigger than you and you need that reinforcement before things get really bad. Let's talk about some new characters who are really cool. It is Jeremiah and Jeremy, and I absolutely love their design. I've got a thing for characters with blonde, icy cold hair. It's also voiced by the same guy. Both Jeremiah and Jeremy have the same voice actor. A lot of our pairings have always had two voice actors, so they're separate. It's the guy who ended up playing Mahito from Jujutsu Kaisen, a very, very bad man. I can definitely see why they picked him. A very unique voice where he can go stone cold and then he can be quite soft. And I did wonder as well if they were insomniacs. That's the reason why they might sleep during the day as opposed to them being Master Robe. I didn't think they were. At one point, they almost had me convinced that they were Master Robe. It's a very good red herring that they threw our direction, trying to throw me off the scent, but it just didn't have me. Jeremiah and Jeremy looking at scorchers and whether they can use them to produce energy. Love this pose. This pose is absolutely amazing. Look how dramatic and perfect it is. With Jeremiah and Jeremy trying to prove their innocence. Solid alibi that for now I can't see through, and I believe that you guys are not Master Robe. And the fact that they are also trying to work out ins and outs of Scorchers. And the fact that Scorchers desire a face, which is why they attack and force themselves upon a human, which is horrific. We've already seen them do it and I just don't like it. It's so nasty. They also could just be desiring a cute hamster wheel. The moment when it was running in the hamster wheel, looking quite happy and content running. Love it. Maybe we should just put these guys to work and just generate all of the electricity in the house. I'm Team Jeremiah. I really hope they're able to do this with the Scorchers because it's a lot nicer to have them chasing pictures than actually chasing the real thing. Sean coming under suspicion and being called away. I do not believe that he's about to get a praise. I don't think it's about a good thing. I believe that the Starbearers are desperate. I believe they don't trust Kate and they are really trying to gain some incriminating evidence to actually incriminate her. I believe that John being very close, we know that he's close because there's lots of rumours flying around. They are trying to get information on Kate and Emilico. So I believe this is a bad moment and I really hope that he doesn't crack under pressure. Fingers crossed for him. I really hope that the meeting of the Starbearers next week goes well. It was an episode where a lot of information came forward and we got to mull over a few things. Another great episode. Really can't wait to see where the anime goes. I'm sad there's only 6 episodes left, but I can't wait to break down those 6 episodes with you guys. Until we meet again next week, make sure you're looking after yourselves. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.